at the moment. Well, yesterday we had Dick Fuld, who used to run Lehman, trying to stage a comeback, and today there are some who are saying total failure. Dick Fuld was speaking yesterday at a Midtown hotel, and now Charlie Gasparino is here with, I guess, the chatter in the wake of this.
I mean, here's the thing. You know, what I wanted to do is see what the educated Wall Street executive, or not so educated Wall Street executive, however you want to put it, thinks about this speech. Do they think that Dick Fuld did himself any favors by coming out? And you know, did he make a positive impression?
Did he?
And listen, I just want to say my margin of error is, you know, if you're going to, give me a margin of error. I didn't interview 4,000 people. So
it's not scientific.
It's not the Fox News poll. That's your, opinion dynamics poll. But it is a good representation. And to the man and to the woman, Dick Fuld did not do himself any favors, except for when he shook my hand right there. You see, he does shake my hand in this video.
Well, apparently it didn't really work because you're telling the truth and it ain't pretty.
Well, listen, I want to say this. I am not a Dick Fuld hater. I've always kind of liked Dick a lot. You know, he's not a bad guy. I think it's over the top to blame him for Lehman when, there was a lot of other stuff going on in Lehman. He was the guy at the top, but there were other people who were managing that day to day. That screwed up. But the general consensus is that speech was a flop. He did not answer the question, did not give us any sort of insight into what went down in Lehman. He went out there and basically seemed to suggest that, it was like a perfect storm that killed the company, which it wasn't. The company invested in bad real estate deals. And it didn't diversify enough, and it was leveraged too high, and that comes from. And the problem for that was not risk management. Was not just him, but it was others. But he was part of that. It was bad risk management that destroyed Lehman. I think the other thing that hurts him coming out of that conference yesterday was that it is now clear that Dick Fuld is not part of the Wall Street mainstream. That concert, that event he was at, was put on by a penny stock company, was put on by penny stock operators. Penny stocks are stocks that trade generally below $5 a share, extremely risky. They trade over what's known as the pink sheets, over the counter. They don't trade on exchanges because they can't meet the listing requirements to be on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. These are highly speculative companies. Vast majority of them don't make it, and people get ripped off in this industry all the time, and that's what he's part of. And I think the other thing that hurt him yesterday was the fact that we came out with this story that shined a sort of insight into how Dick Fuld has been operating over the last 7 years, including his involvement in that one very speculative company in the car, which went from a valuation of, some people say, $50 million to what it is now, almost nothing. And a gentleman killed himself that was associated with it over some of the issues involved. And he was and Dick Fuld's still an investor in that. And I think that altogether, people are starting to digest this. And I know CNBC, went out there and basically hid the truth about Dick Fuld yesterday by not saying he was part of the penny stock industry. And I know they're doing it just to get an interview with him. That's their MO. Let's do puff pieces. Let's hide from our viewers the reality, and let's get away with it. And then we could tout that we're the first to interview him, and so we can say nothing to them.
Well, it doesn't sound like Wall Street will be that interested in hearing from him, because he's not saying anything, he's not admitting anything, and he's not addressing anything related to what the only thing people wanted to hear from him about, and that was
why did it happen? And why did it happen? And he was very
denial. I'm in denial. Everything's fine. We just had a short-term liquidity. Repo 105. They were moving ugly stuff off the balance sheets temporarily so their quarterly numbers would look better.
And what did he say about that?
Oh, I didn't open my attachments on my BlackBerry, so I didn't really know that was happening.
I mean, yeah, come on.
Okay, Charlie, thank you.
Okay.
Charlie Gasparino, you always get the true story from him. He couldn't sleep at night if he didn't tell the true story.
I wouldn't listen. Life is too short.
Closing bell.